My brother from with PT Smith, and my brother and friend. And PT, tell those who might not know you in my little audience a little bit about you and your life and your world, and then maybe a little bit about your work.
Absolutely. Well, like Steve said, I'm PT. I'm born and raised in Denver, Colorado, the East Side, St. Joe, baby. I am one of those guys that, from a young age, got an opportunity to be invested in by several different people and organizations. So, uh, the running joke for me is kind of if you ran a youth organization in the inner city of the East Side, my name was on one of your lists at some point. Um, and it really took a community to help raise me up. Because of that, I caught the bug of knowing that there was a call to service or leadership for me as well. And so I got to be a part of a whole bunch of different things that kind of continued to set me apart and say, hey, these are ways you can serve. Big way for me was with youth by way of Young Life, Colorado Uplift, Boys and Girls Club for a little while. So just anywhere where I could be around youth, young people, and hopefully invest, impart, hang out, uh, be a positive adult. So that kind of transitioned me a little bit into the nonprofit world. I'm married, been married for 9 years to my beautiful, wonderful wife. Her name is Nez. We have two kids, a 7-year-old son who it looks like I spit out. He looks just like me, and a 4-year-old daughter who rules our house with an iron fist. My priority, my joy is my family.
I
They're
love that.
pretty sweet. They're pretty sweet. And what I do for work right now is I am the manager of an apprenticeship program through an organization called Urban Youth Ministries. Our job is, or my job is, I get to hang out with 5 to 6 college age folks who think they might want to do youth ministries, and in 2 years take them through kind of like the ABCs of what that looks like, in the hope that they are ready to step into some entry level roles in a myriad of youth ministry organizations, which hopefully is in favor of those organizations. They don't have to do as much to vet and weed out, but also they get some folks that are come in and they have some foundation. So there's a little less training of the basics and a lot more specifically what does this organization do, or specifically who do these people serve. So we're trying to launch people out to get to the good work. So that's a little bit about me. Is that good, Steve?
That's so beautiful, man. I love you and who you are and what you do. And just for fun, because some people will be interested. Let's just for a minute. Let's talk about your strengths. What are your top five strengths?
My top five, depending on the day, one and two switch, but communication and woo, they lead the charge. You got some includer in there, you got some adaptability in there,
Yeah,
uh, and I'm missing one. I'm missing one.
positivity. I cheat.
Positive.
I cheated. I opened up your strengths. So
Ah,
but you're right. That's very good. Communication will include positivity and adaptability.
there we go. Yep. Yep.
That's amazing stuff. And that's just you being you and doing you because what do we kind of discover together? Like, we need to get this guy on a stage. This guy's
Yeah.
you're a storyteller. You love story, right? And you love hearing them, you love sharing them. I mean, and so yeah. Do you want to just say a word about your strengths, what you love about how God made you?
Excuse me. Well, here's what I want to start with. I want to start with what I didn't think was great until I talked to Steve Garcia. I think
Okay.
that's the because it didn't feel like these strengths. It felt like these strengths were, in a very real way, just kind of like a vanilla youth pastor type of thing, you know? But nobody dynamic, certainly nobody who's changing
Mm,
things. And I think because I didn't know, but I watched a lot of anime, Steve, and in the anime shows, what happens is usually with the character, you'll get a small little snippet of what the strength that this person possesses could actually look like one day. And that's really what draws us into the story for 400 episodes of whatever the show is, right? Because we want to see, what does this thing look like actualized? Okay. Like, you picked up a boulder and threw it, but that was just the tip of the iceberg. What else could it be? And I think that's kind of what I've started to see. So one of the ways that, instead of just saying I have communication and woo, one of the ways after hanging out with you is I go, I'm gonna win you over. That's what the actual strength is. Like, I'm relentless. like I like you and I assume you like me. And if you don't, we just ain't spent enough time together yet. We just haven't hung out enough to really build that camaraderie. Cause like you're gonna like me. Not because I'm awesome or great, it's because I like you and I want to interact with you. And that's the
And it's so genuine with you. It's so genuine with you and with people who have high woo. I really think that is it. They like people, like you like people, and I have it high at 11. I like to think I have it high, but I don't have a number two. But people like people who like them. And when you like people, you're not afraid of strangers. You're not afraid of people. In fact, it's fun for you to like warm it up or break ice. A lot of people want the ice broken with them and they don't have that ability. So you walk across the room, you see them, you love them. You know, they don't always know what to do with it probably, but but they envy it. People who don't have buku, they envy it because that's the superpower, right?
yeah. And I think that's a realization of going, all of these things really are gifts. They're
Mm,
gifts that can be used to help build, to help create, to help sustain, whatever it is. But they're gifts.
wow. Yeah, I love your strengths. I'm looking at them here. Communication, that's the ability to turn your thoughts into words and you can think on your feet. You can't be stumped. Like right now, this is all made up. You have no, in fact, to pull the curtain back, PT and I we're hanging out here doing a little relationship like we do, a little coaching life and together. And he was sharing about something that I want him to share with you guys in a minute. But it just came to me because of my number one ideation. I thought, dude, could we make a video real quick? Because this is rich. And he's like, yeah. See, with high communication, that doesn't throw you. That's like, oh my gosh, there's a mic, there's lights, there's a stage. I got something to share, right?
Mm.
I mean, so that those are great strengths, includer, positivity, adaptability. Great stuff. Well, I hope that you like who you are even more than ever because I like who you are. People who know you love who you are. And that's kind of what strengths can do. Tell us about this past weekend. You just did something pretty sweet. And as you were sharing with me, and we've been talking about, you've been sharing like the planning for it, but then it just happened. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that was amazing.
Yeah, I will. Just for a little context, a little background, the Urban Youth Ministries has been putting on a retreat called the Going Deeper Retreat for kids who were in the early stages of growing their relationship with Jesus, and really just an opportunity for them to take that a step further, a step deeper. And the mom and pa of it have run it beautifully since before COVID. I mean, it's I don't want to overstep, but I think we're coming on either just over 10 years or about to come up on 10 years of this Going Deeper retreat. And so it's their baby. And so we wanted to give the apprentices, when they hired me as the apprenticeship manager, they wanted to give the apprentices a project that was both important, but one that we could also help supervise. And so they are the ones who actually planned the Going Deeper retreat. This was just happened this past weekend. So what does that mean? They prayed and came up with
They is the
the
apprentice
theme verse. The apprentices. The
themselves.
apprentices prayed and came up with the theme verse. Then they did it into an actual theme, something that was catchy for other people, which was TSA, trust, surrender, accept. And then the tagline was, "Where are you going?" Right? Because TSA asks you when you get to the airport, they ask you, "Where you going? Where you headed?" And so there's this
I
idea, and
love
they did
that.
all this. They did
I
all
love
this.
it. Where are you going?
We had an org chart, and we put them in charge of different things in the org chart. And so they had responsibilities when they got there. It wasn't just planning it. And so over 60 kids showed up on this past Friday to the Going Deeper retreat, which is the biggest one they've had since pre-COVID. And they help run with registration. They help run with organizing kind of like where people were going to be. They helped with, we needed extra bedding and different things like that. So they kind of helped with the hospitality pieces of it. They helped all in with the program. So our general sessions of like inviting our speakers, who was doing worship, who does this in the games, who's the actual MC, the makeup of the room, how it's set up. They did all of those things. And then all the little things in between, right? Like the parts that nobody talks about or nobody sees, it's 10:30 or 11 p.m. and all the kids are back in their cabins, but the kids had such a good time. Now you have to clean up the good time, right? And so they're there till midnight or 1, and then they got to get up again at 6 to go make sure that the next thing is ready for the next day. They had a beautiful weekend where it was them planning. And again, I say them planning because it's a big deal for me to not jump in and try to take over and drive the ship. No, no, no. When there was an awkward silence because the creativity died down, I just, bit my hand and shut up and allowed them to live in it until a spark happened. When we were at camp and there was a points of dissension, a little bickering or different things like that, I got to invite them in to go, hey, like, not you better do this, but hey, you get the opportunity to go and reconcile, to notice that somebody's different, that they have different strengths. And you know what? They stepped up. They stepped up. And so much so that at the end of the weekend on Sunday, we saw, I don't have the complete numbers, but we saw a majority of the room move to say, hey, I want to take my relationship with Jesus from here to here. I want to trust. I want to surrender. I want to accept or submit. And we know that ultimately it wasn't us doing it. It wasn't them, the apprentices doing it, but we do know they were a huge piece in making it happen, of creating a space. I got a good friend that says you get to cultivate the land, cultivate the soil so something can grow. Are you gonna make it grow? No, but you get to make the place ready for it, and that's what they had to do. It was amazing. It was amazing.
And these apprentices, I think you've said so, but they're what, 20 years old, 23. I mean, yeah, these are young adults,
Yeah,
and
20 to 25.
you're giving them major responsibility. And again, I want to like, it really struck me when you were sharing with me earlier, like when they came up with that TSA theme, they asked you if you would like help them or that you would do it or whatever, and you resisted the temptation. I would have jumped all over that and said, oh, here's 5 themes because of my number one ideation, and it would have gotten in the way. That would have been my number one strength becoming a weakness. And I've done it for like ever. Like I will do all of that imagineering, and it's not fair to people. People have the capacity, but I need to like zip it and let them, and you did that.
Yeah, and part of it is, again, if you go back to my top 5 again, like some of those strengths I think I've learned from you are like natural, and you just want to be conscious of the fact when you're using it or shouldn't be using it, right? Like when I took my wife off, and there's something I need to apologize for. It's probably just good to turn the woo off and just apologize and try to make it right instead of trying to woo her back. Like it's just because it's so natural. There's others like positivity. It's like, all right, how do you actually wield that? How do you actually wield that? Well, like if I say in my head, in my heart, I believe these guys can do this, that's a way to wield it. Like it's easier to shut up when I'm going, I'm just gonna lean to the strength that says, like, I really believe y'all could do it. And so I'm gonna hush up because I really think y'all can do it. I really think that y'all are amazing. Yeah. So I think even going back to that, some of that is some new learned things about who I am and how I'm built. And so I had leaders who did that for me. And then looking forward through my strengths, I go, you can do that because you believe in the folks around you. You do. So, and this is paid off in a big way. So hush up and let them go. So
I love that. Well, it illustrates the quote that we were talking about a little earlier. Somebody shared it with me. My iteration of it is, it's a beautiful thing when people trust their leaders. It's even more beautiful when leaders trust their people. And there you are trusting your people, and they stepped up, and I can't imagine how proud of themselves, and pooped, but how proud of themselves those young adults must be for what they executed together.
yeah, execute is the perfect word too. Because there's the triers, right? It's like, oh, I tried it. Nothing wrong with that. But I'm learning more and more. You want to be a part of the group that they executed. So they went out and they did what they were supposed to do. Not perfectly, but beautifully though. Beautifully.
And you mentioned that you're going to have an evaluation here, and we would always use the frame at my church, celebrate and evaluate. And I always wanted it to be like 80, 90% celebrate, like because people are so hard on themselves, they're so self-critical, and they don't really savor their successes. So, I think the more we celebrate people's achievements and what they did get right, the more they're able to look at what they would want to do better. But uh, What are your thoughts about like that whole idea?
I think the first thing you want to do, again, this, I mean, all these quotes, right? That's funny, Steve. I'm blanking hard on this quote. I love it because what scares me most a lot of times is what I did right. Because could I do it again? Is that really me? Was that a fluke? You know, it's like, was it a Hail Mary pass? And it was just like, I'm so glad he caught it. Or am I a dime thrower? You know, am I a flamethrower? And so if I critique it and I can make myself seem like it was just luck, there's no pressure to be that.
Yeah, it's
Just
the
like,
pressure. It's the pressure to repeat, right?
yeah. And so the celebrating, we put more emphasis on that because we want to say more and more like, no, you're a dime thrower. That was not a Hail Mary. You sat back in that pocket, you found an open receiver, and you threw it to him, or whatever version of you that you want. Obviously, now everyone knows that I'm the jock, right? We're just gonna talk about it in sports.
Nothing wrong with that. Be
Me
you,
and
man.
Steve just gonna yeah, we're just gonna talk about the sport. But anyway,
We're gonna
the
talk
fact
about
is,
sports. We're gonna talk about sports.
but that's the
Okay.
fact. So
Yeah.
I love, that's why I love that. I love celebrating more because we do got stuff we got to work on, and we should talk about it. But we naturally we gonna go there, and we're not even be if without good coaching, we probably aren't even gonna be constructive.
Hmm.
We might just evaluate in such a way where it just says I'm bad, and there's that.
Well, that's where your positivity comes in so, handy and helpfully in that it's like, no, we want to stop and savor our successes because we're gonna have defeats. I mean, we're gonna miss the mark. And so we need this encouragement, and you need to see that I see you. Yeah, that's what you're telling them. I see you hitting the mark, and I want to pause there and not run on to the next. Okay, now what's next? That's the most natural thing in the world is, okay, so we did that. Now what's next? It's like, no, 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 not so fast. Not so fast. So PT, so good. What are your final thoughts that you would maybe what would you say to somebody out there who either is interested in learning about their strengths or just anything about life or leadership that is just a takeaway that maybe is coming to mind?
Yes, I would just play back with something you already said, which is we are gonna naturally gravitate, and whoever they is, right? DJ Khaled used to say they a lot, right? Whoever they is already telling us what's wrong with us. So
Mm,
there's some internal telling us what's wrong with us, and there's the they who are telling us what's wrong with us. I think y'all like let's find out what's right with us. Let's find out what we're good at. Let's find out where we're naturally gifted, because those are the places where there's exponential growth. Steve can tell you all about that, but that's what I would say. Like StrengthsFinder is a tool, and I wouldn't say that it's incredibly special, but it could be incredibly special for you, because that's what it was for me. I don't think generally it changes the world, but specifically it could change your world. It did that for me. So I think that is what I would say is let's find out where our gifts are. Uh, it's important.
awesome. Thank you, brother. God bless you.
Yeah. Love you, man.
Right.